You can take many roads off Interstate 8, but it's Kitchen Creek that'll put you back on old Highway 80. Out here, 50 miles east of El Cajon, with a fast-paced freeway on one side and one of the world's most rugged railways on the other, Old Highway 80 is still a true San Diego back road. And at the turn, signs point to our first stop. Down the road about a mile, and you'll run into what some call the best kitchen near Kitchen Creek. For here at the old La Posta Diner, fast food is forbidden, and down-home hospitality greets you at the door.
Howdy!
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 Howdy.
At the counter, you may sit next to Old Stu.
I'm Royal Steward. They call me Stu.
Or English Mike.
Howdy, Mike.
Howdy.
And Mary Simmons will be there with a warm smile and a steamy cup.
Here we go, gentlemen.
Thank you very
All right,
much,
thank
Mary.
you.
Appreciate it.
On the road.
Crazy. I'm crazy for feeling so lonely.
Long before the world went crazy over Patsy Cline, La Posta was a rest stop for horses halfway between El Centro and San Diego.
Crazy for feeling.
Of course, now, La Posta is where locals rest their bones, and character comes in more than a cup.
Well, it's not near strong. It's got some flavor to it, and you know where you're at, you're among friends.
Well, Stu, nice meeting you. Here's to you.
All right, thank you.
A few miles up from the diner, and suddenly a lone tree stands guard over its historic roots. This is called the Old La Posta Spring, and it's been here ever since they put in Old Highway 80 years ago. You can water up the old Ford Bronco, or you can water up yourself. Stretching for 3,000 miles, Route 80 was the nation's first transcontinental highway. Can you believe this historic highway actually took you all the way out to Savannah, Georgia? It was completed in 1926, but only after 2 decades of hard labor. Look at this. You can just imagine back in the 1920s the feat of engineering it took to blast through and carve through massive chunks of granite to create this wonderful highway. Round about the Golden Acorn Casino, Old Highway 80 turns right, keeping its distance from a future that is blowing in the wind. Within a few miles, we pass through the town of Boulevard. It's the home of the Wisteria Candy Cottage.
Ain't she sweet?
It's a sweet shop that's worth the stop, but we've got a train to catch and we're getting close. We're just entering what is perhaps the most overlooked of all the towns along the entire stretch of Old US 80. It's called Bankhead Springs. Bankhead Springs? Come to think of it, the only bankhead I've ever heard of belongs to Tallulah Bankhead. That must be her house.
This house used to belong to Tallulah Bankhead, and she was a famous movie star in her day in the early 1900s. Tallulah used to live here, but she headed down the road with her Hollywood friends to go visit Jacumba Hot Springs.
And that's where we're headed. To the tiny town of Jacumba.
Jacumba's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
The old hotel is long gone, but pull into the Jacumba Motel and Spa, and the pool and hot mineral springs still rise to the surface.
So this was kind of a place for Hollywood to get away until the freeway bypassed it, because being on Old Highway 80, this was the major thoroughfare.
But the most spectacular thoroughfare through Jacumba lies at the end of Railroad Street. Along with a team that is out to keep history on track, we climb into a specially rigged SUV. It's a rare ride along the rails, for this is the Carrizo Gorge Railway.
The train tracks here were completed through the whole line about 1919 after 10 years. There was no way to really get truck traffic or freight or any massive amount of transportation, so John D. Spreckles, who built this railroad, saw this as San Diego's link to the major part of the world. And so he sort of paralleled Highway 80 the best he could. Because of the steep mountain grades, he had to do a lot of winding around.
Getting its name from the tall carrizo grass that grows here, the Carrizo Gorge Railway is 130 miles through San Diego and Old Mexico, with twists, turns, and 21 tenacious tunnels.
Hello! This is tunnel number 7, and in 1928, the entire thing collapsed. So this is the first time that any tourist like you or me has ever seen the inside.
And just as rare are the original telegraph poles with wires that once connected the country from coast to coast. And they're not the only things that still run along the track.
Well, what do you know? Look, goats. Well, I had you there. They're actually not goats. They're really bighorn sheep, but they call them goats. We must be getting close to the Goat Canyon Trestle.
Well, this is the world-famous Goat Canyon Trestle here in the Carrizo Gorge. We have freight trains carrying sand and gravel, crossing it every day.
More than 600 feet long and 200 feet high, the Goat Canyon Trestle is the largest curved wooden trestle in the U.S.
Wow.
Which is why folks like Byron Ware with Carrizo Gorge Railway Association are out to preserve it.
Byron, originally this was all wood, but you've added some steel.
Yeah, we've added some pieces at the bottom to shore it up, but basically it continues to be, it's a wood structure in essence. And it's in great condition because of the warm desert climate, which has preserved it for the last 80-some years.
Standing up here on the Goat Canyon Trestle, you can really feel the winds as they howl. But they may be the winds of change, because it's not just freight they would like to run along this rail. It's you and me, and that may one day be the true light at the end of the tunnel.
We hope that we can get it open in about a year. We're going to work with the Metropolitan Transit System. They want to do some additional inspections to make sure it's absolutely safe for passengers.
Until passenger travel on the trestle is back on track, there's still the old highway. Route 80 is now 80 years old, which is why Eric Lund with the East County Visitors Bureau is not just posting a shiny new present, but a sign of things to come.
Pretty soon you'll see signs just like this from downtown San Diego all the way to Yuma, because the state has designated Highway 80 as a state historical route.
No matter where you go down the old highway, each bend brings a new adventure. So come along, for you're always welcome on San Diego Backroads.